Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan, the Crypto Hipster, where I interview founders, entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders, amazing people all around the world of crypto and blockchain. And today I have another amazing guest. This man is the co-founder of TAC. He is also a co-developer of a TVM version of a CDB stablecoin. His name is Pavel Altukhov. Pavel, welcome to the show.
Correct. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to this conversation. So let's kick things off, and I'll ask you first. I ask everybody the same thing, and my answers range. They're all amazing answers. Just really interesting ones I get. Is the first question is this: is what is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, I believe mine is very logical. I have an investment background, so all of my professional career, I was in TradFi, managing funds on the portfolio side, and that's how I, progressed into asset management, starting my own asset management company, which specializes until this day in systematic asset management strategies, and witnessing the evolution and capitalization of the crypto market. At some point, we pivoted into crypto with the asset management company. That was 2020. Since then I'm deeply in, though I was invested before, obviously, but the interesting pattern, which may be different, is that I was an investor in the beginning, and then I turned builder. So it's kind of a reverse of a trend I see usually in crypto. But yeah, with specifically in regards to TON, there was a obviously discretionary bucket where I invested personally concentrated manner, discretionary on high conviction bets, and that's how we invested in TON, and that was early 2022. And getting to know the ecosystem better, we doubled down on the bet that TON will be part of Telegram in the end. Back in the day, obviously, that was not the fact. It was still like a asymmetric risk-reward bet on the investment side. We started at end of 22. I've launched the first liquid staking. It was not the CDP as you mentioned, but was the first liquid staking on TON. And yes, since then I stopped managing obviously the asset management myself. So since then I'm in the trenches 24/7, let's say.
So yeah, you went the reverse. A lot of people start out as devs and go into investment. You did it. What prompted you to be more involved and more interested in the development side?
I think the beauty and the trait which attracts a lot of people apart from engineering community to crypto is the fact that it is non-regulated, and that it allows the liquidity of the asset on any stage, right? So we've witnessed those, bad examples, mostly bad examples during the ICO boom in 2017, right? But we see a lot of good examples, right? And the ability to be liquid from early days and the amount of assets in the space attracts a lot of people from investing perspective. And when it capitalized enough for it to be tradable from institutional perspective, from liquidity perspective, starting with BTC obviously in Ethereum market, then spilling into what they're still sometimes called altcoins back in the day. It became a financial market, less regulated, with more opportunities, more upside. So I mean that draw attention of the investment community. I remember back in the beginning of DeFi summer, Paul Tudor Jones, who is considered to be one of the most prominent, successful and famous macro hedge fund managers in the TradFi world. He issued a letter, investment note, practically promoting Bitcoin, like rationalizing why that is a new type of asset. So basically, it was always like this: engineers who started from getting deeper into the tech, embracing it, and starting building on top, innovating. And the investment community who saw liquidity from early days and a huge exponential upside, which draw their attention personally and professionally when grew liquidity-wise. So I'm from the latter category. So yeah.
Awesome. So I want to find out what TAC is all about, including your mission and your vision for the future.
Yeah, sure. So in TAC, I mean, like for us, building within Ton ecosystem, we were always a bit, Web2 product oriented, obviously being part of Telegram. So TAC originally was about introducing use cases and embracing engaging, enabling that thing called use case. Not for some reason that thesis is not paid much attention in crypto, right? Because it's like, once again, this tech, mostly engineering in the early days community. It's kind of was led by the concept build and they would come, right? So we were a bit different by design in Ton ecosystem originally, but with TAC we like to take it to the next level. So TAC is a layer 1 blockchain introducing a novel Ton adapter, which practically enables Ethereum dApps to access Telegram now officially more than 1 billion monthly active user base. So we make it seamless for EVM dApps to be deployed on Ton. And, EVM applications, that is where the evolution of the app space is, right? And more importantly, liquidity. It's most capitalized, the Ethereum one specifically. And when dApps and liquidity coupled together are brought to the ecosystem, which is pre-bootstrapped with users, such as Ton, and has access to practically in crypto terms, let's call it infinite audience of second messaging app, social app in the world right now. That, in our understanding, enables the full blockchain functionality, right? So, and that's what practically underpins our vision, where we aim at easing a consumer adoption of the blockchain technology itself.
Got it. So I want to find out. You said build and they will come. We have this issue. We've had this issue since I've been in crypto, 2017. That people will develop their solution and then hope that institutions adopt their solution. But the people who build in that solution have never worked inside institutions, so they don't know what the pain point is. So what can we do about that? How can we start to address, find out what people's real pain points are and then address them specifically? How can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a million, it's a several $billion question, I believe. But we see kind of from my understanding a positive trend. So while the industry in early days was purely builders driven, which is always the case for the innovation, right? It is great. It is great. But now, coupled with the popularity on the exponential growth of those assets, which can be liquid, as discussed before, from practically day one, right? It attracts a lot of attention. People start breeding copycats, projects on similar stack, different blockchain, similar dexes, rebranding them. And the amount of those applications grows in number, right? So there are two negative aspects of it. First, when it's pure engineer driven, and it rewards you, right? You build, you tokenize, you get money. So this is like the kind of a vicious circle in the early days, which allows you to get, let's say, investment or financially successful without even innovating on the product side, right? Somehow benefiting either the cycle or the crypto or already onboarded audience, which, by the way, it's a relatively small number, right? And we call this audience the degen community. And basically this community of ours, mix of engineers and those who are looking for easy investment returns, nowadays it's practically hunting airdrops. That's all it does, right? This traffic is very expensive to acquire for the app builders. That's why they don't even target it in a sense. They just announce airdrop, get the socials pumped up or the metrics, and try to list and get liquidity out of the market. So like this cycle obviously is a kind of early part of the global cycle of the adoption of the technology illness, in a sense. It is definitely broken. It would evolve, right? But since the market participants, including the capital, are still happy with this one and it's still working, I mean, it stays the same, right? But the big issue is that we were suffering from because of this, success cases and growing in numbers when you can basically iteratively change for the better at best, or just copycat and still can have the liquidity that led to an enormous amount of those stuff being built, which is motivated not by the product expertise, by the technology and engineering perspective, right? So this is what led to too much of a supply and not enough of demand on the product application side of things, right? This kind of once again, I think it's early stage sickness in a sense that would go, right? But product expertise, Web2 dogmas should be, should be a fundamental base for the applications to emerge. And that would radically improve the user experience, right? Even for us, crypto natives, interacting with applications, onboarding in a wallet, signing numerous transactions just for a simple swap, being afraid that we get rugged on the way. I mean, this is a quite an unpleasant experience. And for example, yes, it is decentralized. Yes, it's you who controls who controls the coins, right? But the downside is the risk, which is not mitigated and not secured by the regulator. In contrast to centralized services, yes, slower. Yes, you'll have to open an account there, but they basically guarantee that you're safe most of the time with the assets, right? So it's it's not about the centralized crypto anarchy thesis, which will get popular. It's about the benefits of the technology every user can benefit from. And that should be transformed in a product form and delivered to the end user. So you have to have the product, right? It should be changed, but it would change with access to a broader distribution. And that's what we are super excited in TAC about, Ton and Telegram about.
But anarchy is so much fun. No.
Yeah. No, it is fun. It is fun, but for a close builder and early evangelist circle, which its time has gone. Like the technology is already there where it can perform. So now it's high time to build on top of it.
I agree. So you said Web 2 dogma. So what works well in Web 2 is applicate or apps, like so I want to find out, what do you think the real power behind consumer apps are that offer utility and not anarchy?
That's what we actually that's what we're trying to kickstart within the industry, right? So first of all, on the concept, right, and then I'll tell you how we're doing this. Concept-wise, I think I believe that book was called Lean Startup, right? So you produce, you get it there in the wild, you get the feedback, you iterate, and then you get the feedback from consumer again, and you do numerous circles, right? That's what we need in crypto, because it's not there like totally, right? Everybody's doing practically the same. It's not a circle. It's like, the path. They go from one point to another one. After, if they're successful in getting to the point B, then it's liquidity event. So they can spend resources on, trying to widen the community, right? It's not about the product itself mostly. It's not product centric, let's call it. So we believe that, as I've mentioned already, the technology is mature enough. I consider blockchain personally the most interesting aspect of it. Most useful one is the value transfer infrastructure, and that practically means financial and investment services, and hence the DeFi and evolution of that space. It is obviously that it happened on Ethereum, in the Ethereum ecosystem on EVM, and the innovation is still rolling there, right? There are a lot of new ecosystem who copycat that, but Ethereum evolution pattern, the battle testness of those applications matter a lot. It matters a lot when you are looking for the liquidity which powers those applications. Without liquidity, applications are practically very hard to use, right? So DEXs should have assets in the pools. Money markets should be filled with assets to borrow, lend against. And on top of those, the yield comes, all the further derivatives and structural products on the financial side come. And these can be wrapped and delivered as a value to the end user in a consumer format, right? So basically, we are taking best of the applications from the Ethereum world, those battle tested, which the liquidity trusts easily, so the cost of capital is reduced. We pre-fill them with liquidity, and with our tech layer, we allow this one to be brought into the ecosystem pre-bootstrapped with users. That is TON, the open network. More to that, it's TON, I believe, has more than 100 million registered wallets today. More to that, it is already a part of Telegram, and by that I mean a very interesting thing. Like we've mentioned, the UX simplification aspect already. So Telegram, TON, and the project which is called Wallet seamlessly integrated wallet within the messenger already. That practically means that most of that billion monthly active users have crypto in their pocket, whether they know it or not. Like, this is the thing everybody is mentioning, right? Ton and Telegram have done it already, right? So this is the essential step of a UX simplification to be there for the the consumer app, massive viral consumer app case to emerge. The second part of it is the ease of consumer app interaction. And that's what we bring into this system. First, we bring those applications which are easily filled with liquidity. So liquidity trusts them. These are the Ethereum blue chip applications. That's something any other than the EVM stack ecosystem lacks. So we make them functional, right? Then our architecture allows Stone wallet holder to interact with those applications deployed on TAC, EVM applications, right? And while it is done, we abstract also the difficulties of interacting with an app. So cross-chain messaging, bridging when needed, it's all been taken care on the backend of the application. So basically, that's the second step of a simplification of UX, which is, in our understanding, essential on the way to that app adoption case. And that actually allows you to store all of your assets in your Ton wallet within Telegram easily. Custodial, non-custodial, you can easily choose. That's two-click connection to every application, which you don't have to download. You just search it in a bar, you open it up, you connect your wallet. That's one-click swap. You do not authorize the pool anymore. You don't do that. And you will be able to store your Ton, Ethereum, Bitcoin-based assets all in the same wallet, right? And you can easily send them between each other, right? So you know the name tag of the user in Telegram. You want to send him some Bitcoin and Ethereum. You just enter the amount. You push send. He will be receiving it. It will be able to open the wallet, register the wallet, and receive those assets without even knowing he has this functionality, right? So the way how to onboard users and convert them onboard into crypto is seamless in Telegram. So basically, with TAC, we're bringing, as mentioned, with our infra, tech infra, blue chip applications pre-filled with liquidity into the bootstrap from the user base perspective ecosystem already. But the vision is that on top of that stack, a new applications would emerge. It's obviously not the DeFi functionality, not that immense amount of jargon, somewhere difficult to comprehend technology, specifically for the newbie, right? And investment thesis of bounded curve pricing. It's something which is definitely needed by the consumer. And that's the value of permissionless value transfer infrastructure, which practically blockchain is, on top of which a lot of things can evolve. For example, the yield in DeFi, right? Those aggregators, that this yield can be distributed, and those consumer applications are practically the means of distribution of that yield, and hence the DeFi, and hence this is the ticker of crypto economy multiplier, in the sense that, for example, people using playing their favorite game, they don't pay for the premium feature anymore, and they buy a pay pass. And that allows them, you play the game, you stake your $10. You stop playing the game, you get your money back at par. But during the period you stake, those assets are pooled. They are deposited into DeFi, extracting the yield, subject to the risk the app builder is looking for. And that honeypot is distributed to those playing. You're playing the same cut the rope game in Telegram, but you get subject to your position in the leaderboard, or by luck access to $1,000 a day. Right, so things like this, and that would, in case, trigger the amount of swaps, the amount of borrows and lendings, on top of which this yield aggregator base their project. Liquidity providers get their fees. Transactions on blockchain will generate fees finally. So these consumer apps are super understandable for those who are familiar with the WeChat as a super app, as a lot of stuff happening there. It's like, for us Europeans, it's not a common thing to see. But China living this life for more than 10 years already, and but it's not just the consumer applications. These are the means of distribution for us, the industry, right? For the info providers, for the application providers, and a new horizon for those building the applications, because building in crypto right now is a commodity, right? Solidity skills easily acquired by the resources. You don't have to reinvent anything. Yield is there. So it's high time we spread the word that toolset is there, that access to distribution is there, and you can start building. That's what we are super positive about. I mean, it's not a matter of will it work or not. It's just a matter of how fast we can get there.
Yeah. Interesting. Ton is like number 13 right now, 14, something like that, as far as market cap. But if you look at the graphs around the world, the distribution around the world, Ton is a top 5 coin. The only reason why it's so far low is it's not a top 5 coin in the US, but around the world it is. Interestingly enough, we're down. The market. I don't talk about price too much, but market's down. So I did a quick, snapshot of the top 100 coins. The two coins are trending up. One is Tron, and the other is Ton. And you said that it's seamless, so people are using Ton seamlessly without even knowing it. And then that gets reflected in the usage. You said what you're doing is you're helping EVM developers build on Ton, where they can focus less on coding and more on the end user experience. Why is it important to help developers not need to code anymore?
There are basically two things to that. So first, different ecosystem, which Ton is, and if you want to be servicing the needs of 1 billion, you have to be scalable, right? So Ton is specifically designed to handle that task, which other blockchains, by the way, cannot, right? So, but it implies a different architecture. So it is not sequential within the block; it's sharded. That means that Ton scaling itself breeds instances which coordinate with each other, and that radically changes the way smart contracts interact. That in turn makes the developer who is familiar, let's say, with the Solidity stack and sequential architecture of Ethereum, relearn totally. It's not even the tech stack, right? To fit that. First, it's hard. Second, I mean, it's not even hard. It's time consuming. So to get the critical mass of builders, you have to spend a lot of resources. We've seen judging by history of emerging ecosystems, we understand how big is the role of so-called multi-chainers within builders, right? These are the ones who are building on Ethereum. They try to build on Near, and then they, building on Ethereum and Near, and their retention is higher, right? So with the down cycles on the market, they tend to continue building. As in contrast to those single chainers which are converted from the Web2 into Web3. So this is my view on the ecosystem development is important here to understand that Ton has a way of building natively, which is very potential. It is very resource intense from the builder's perspective. So basically, we are trying to solve two issues. First, to get all the apps evolution into Ton and Telegram by onboarding Ethereum applications, but more importantly, getting reach to the dev community, which is biggest in Ethereum, which counts in tens of thousands of builders, who are converted into those multi-chainers more easily and start building on Ton, and thus propelling the native building on Ton. But to come back to your question, so basically, we are easing practically we're making it we're not easing it up, we're practically making it seamless to current dev runners and builders who have their EVM applications already running. So basically there's no change to the code deployment on TAC, which is a sovereign layer 1 Ethermine powered, namely fully EVM compatible, so they can easily deploy on us. Well, we during that process help them do that and substitute their core EVM code with the TVM transactional and custodial function and the code on TVM, making the application hybrid. So basically, every app deployed on us becomes partially stays EVM, but gets the part of TVM code, Ton native code. So practically it starts to exist on both sides. And a Ton adapter, which is essential part of our architecture, eases the communication between TVM and Ton part of the application and EVM. And in turn allows the Ton wallet holder to connect from through TVM side with the TAC deployed EVM application. So let's say we help existing applications get access to the distribution of Ton and Telegram. We at the same time help them see the traction. And there are a lot of ways hybrid application can get better. First, from the perspective of latency of transactions and so forth. Scalability. So those who see a product market fit, they migrate to TVM easily. So basically, we're like a constant stream of new applications because the evolution on the applicational side obviously happens these days on Ethereum, which we intend to bring into the Ton ecosystem. For those who already found the product market fit, migrating to Ton partially or fully. This is how we see the the ecosystem building, and that's what our value proposition for developers on EVM side is.
I find it very interesting and remarkable you're working on this. My only concern is I get a lot of scammers try to contact me on Telegram, and I'm like all the time, like,
yes,
it's worse than it was like in the early days, and it's worse than it is on X. So how do people navigate Telegram, without losing their shirt, without getting phished, without being, scammed? What's the best way they can do that? Even the developers, how can they navigate the Telegram platform space to be able to move things forward safely?
Yeah, I mean, it used to be just a mean of communication, right? But now it is actually your Telegram handle. It's basically is access to not only your contact base, and by contact base I mean some important information. For example, obviously Telegram is a mean of communication for all people crypto, right? VCs are there. We see. Within even our cap table, we've seen, I believe, like 3 cases for the last 6 months where the accounts were hijacked or manipulated in a sense. And, these people are members of hundreds of groups with their projects managing funds. So it's like it's really an issue. But I think with time, like we see a lot of positive things on the application level happening already, because the on-chain reputation and digital ID projects, they make all the sense, and they manage those risks. They help integrating with an application. They help mitigate the fraud risks, or they can, because of your social score, they can reduce the cost of capital for you. So it's like these are the things which are basically already there on chain. It's a matter of adoption and integration of those into the applications on the financial side, primary. Which is here to happen. And once again, most of those are still EVM based, most advanced ones. With TAC, we see a few number of those looking into deploying on TAC already. So hopefully we'll bring that into Telegram as well. And combining with DeFi, that would make an enormous value for the end user.
I'm looking forward to the next DeFi summer. I've been looking forward to it for 4 years. So, you know, I hope it's this year. So I say that every year. So I want to thank you very much for your time today. I enjoyed speaking with you and learning about what you're building. So thank you. I have one last
Thanks
question. Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming on. So one last question is this, is how can people find out more information about TAC, about you? How can they do that?
Yes, follow our website, tac.build. Join our Discord, join our Twitter. We have a bunch of announcements of applications being released on TAC already. Those of blue chip DeFi applications, another application, like a lot of announcements coming these days. We're launching a community bootstrapping campaign as a liquidity campaign these days. So you want to be part of TAC Force, join our Discord, join our Twitter, follow the news, and help us grow the community and engage.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.